Shopping these days for clothes can be a frustrating experience. One issue is that many clothes made by big-name clothing brands are made from petroleum-based synthetic fabrics, like polyester, acrylic, and nylon. The upfront price tag is cheaper, but after a wash or two, the piece you once liked has lost its shape, soft feel, and general appeal. For Sofi Thanhauser, an award-winning author and fashion enthusiast, this quick disintegration has left her reminiscing back to a time when clothes were made with more care and better fabrics. Thanhauser is the author of Worn, A People's History of Clothing. She moved to Martha's Vineyard, a popular summer getaway spot, when she was just a teen and remembers this weekend tradition.
I am a person who has always enjoyed getting dressed up. Like many children, I took a lot of pleasure in the game of dress up. And as I got older, began to shop in a place called the Dumptique, where people who were wealthy summer residents would leave incredible clothes and where everything was free. And I just came into some really stunning stuff as a teen and kind of developed a little bit of a taste for clothes that maybe wouldn't have really even crossed my path otherwise.
As she grew older, Thanhauser began examining the global fashion industry and its modern focus on prioritizing quantity over quality. To do this, she looked into what clothing production and marketing looked like 50 or 60 years ago.
Some of what I was seeing in thrift stores was that a garment from the 60s or the 50s or the 40s, say, might, to my eye, have been a lot more durably constructed than something that was available to me at TJ Maxx. And I started to wonder about the quality of clothing and why it seemed to me to be declining. And I later came to understand that as part of a really big geopolitical narrative.
She began her search for answers just a few miles away from the Dumptique at the site of a historic colonial house built in the mid-1700s. Like many homes constructed during that time, it has a noticeable missing feature by today's standards: no bedroom closets. Back then, a large closet space wasn't a requirement because most people had just a few sets of clothing. Some hooks attached to a wall were enough to hold a person's wardrobe. This is a far cry from today's standards.
A boom industry in the last decade has been actually storage units and people kind of outpacing the ability of their own homes and their own closets to contain all of their physical belongings, a lot of which are garments. And since 2005, the amount of garments that we wear has just about doubled. So it's accelerating now at a rate that's just exponential.
Go back to the 1900s and each outfit was looked after and cared for. Many colonial Americans wore clothes made out of linen, a durable, breathable cloth that could be worn day in, day out for years before it ripped or frayed.
Linen comes from flax, which is a plant that bears a very beautiful blue flower. And if you take away the outer husk of this plant, inside there are these very fine and durable strands. So from pretty early on, humans have been using some sort of vegetal fiber to make clothes. So the oldest threads and garments and textiles that we have in the archaeological record are something very close to linen.
Linen was replaced by cotton fiber, which was easier to make into thread for weaving. When the cotton gin was invented in the late 1700s, it revolutionized clothing production.
In the 20th century, we had a big, fabulous garment workers union, the International Ladies Garment Workers Union, that had created a situation where the people who made clothing were making a middle-class wage. They had insurance, they had cultural opportunities. And so, of course, clothing cost, it was a significant portion of people's budget. And it was often cheaper to make your own clothes. And it's only since that union has been destroyed because of the way that the industry has been globalized that we have clothes that are so cheap. It, in fact, is often actively cheaper to buy a ready-made garment than to buy fabric to make your own clothes.
Today, advertisements push a constant cycle of new clothes for each season, style, and activity. New trends, the ease of online ordering, and a constant flurry of sales all feed into this norm of shopping as an activity rather than out of necessity. But even with so much time spent, much of these items quickly look cheap, ill-fitting, and push people to go out and shop more. This never-ending cycle of consumerism leads to massive waste and pollution. It's also a chronic waste of time, energy, and money for the average person. In recent years, there's been more media coverage of this issue, leading to greater awareness. People are seeking out smaller brands or local shops that offer sustainable but still beautiful clothes. The price may be higher up front, but each piece is constructed with care, fits well, and lasts much longer. Before you buy, make sure to look at the white tag on the inside to find the fabric. Instead of buying polyester or viscose, opt for more natural, long-lasting fibers like organic cotton, linen, merino wool, hemp, and lyocell. Thanhauser says that thrifting is also another fantastic way to give a second life to old clothes. To learn more about this topic, check out Sofi Thanhauser's book, Worn: A People's History of Clothing, available online and in bookstores. This segment was written and produced by Polly Hansen and Amira Zaveri. Our studio manager is Jason Dickey. I'm Gary Price. This segment is sponsored by Capital One. Banking with Capital One helps you keep more money in your wallet with no fees or minimums on checking accounts and no overdraft fees. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. Member FDIC.